Hey there, it's me still hanging out and doing my thing. Wanted to show you something. So I'm adjusting the highlights on this, and this is what happens. First of all, there's a red light right there, right? Watch what happens. It's bright red here, and it turns clear with just the adjustment of highlights. It shouldn't do that. Isn't that just extremely bizarre? Um, I'm going to take two pictures of it and show the marked difference. But let's talk about some other things. Let's discuss things in other people's pictures instead of my pictures. How's that? Because people don't like it when I talk about my pictures. So let's talk about other people's pictures and see if I can get some support from people that way. Pictures that I didn't take with my camera and aren't of my neighborhood. Are you ready? You're going to be shocked. I promise you will be. Here we go. Okay. Sorry for the delay. Nobody's watching though, which is so nice. It's encouraging. It gives me lots of time to wonder. First of all, there is this. I took a 1 second video, and in the 1 second video, was able to see that there were projections coming out of the light across the street. And when you look at the projection, you can definitely see sets of eyes and faces. It's not a mental illness. Are you seeing it or no? Here, let me point it out to you. Here are two eyes. One and two. Here's his mouth right here. Then there's another one on top of him. Right there. And that one would be one eye, two eyes, and a mouth. Right down here, his mouth is open. And then there's another one. So, okay, this is happening in the environment. I don't know how it's happening. I know there are a lot of people that are really interested in seeing that I get better. How about this? It's another little bit of the same 1 second video. There's a dark area directly below that isn't substantiated with anything because it's down my driveway. That would be in the actual driveway. So I don't know how that's happening. Then what you've got over here is the light energy clearly extending itself from further away to in front of the corner of the porch. Because the light extends out in front of it, and you can see the porch edge behind it. Do you see this? Now, this is evidence of light energy technology that is traveling and captured on film. Now, I continue to say, freeze frame, go slowly, and what you will learn is exactly what I continue to keep talking about. I mean, that is what's happening there. And this light energy technology is making actual faces. And the intent is to try to frighten me into moving away. It's actually real. Here it is again. This is a different freeze frame. And this is where you see the face right there. And then the face on top of it, right? So let's talk about some other people's pictures because you don't like the ones I showed you. So how about this? Take a look at where the arrows are. This is the corner of a tail light in a parking lot that somebody else took a picture of. And I'm not doing the best job at showing it to you, but I guarantee you that the taillight does not have that part of it covered coming from the factory. Let's get a closer look. You see that? And the reason I know that is because it's extending from the bumper ridge. Let's take a look at this other one that I have marked off as the wheel. Ready? Look at the bottom two open spaces. That's the bottom of a wheel. Oops, sorry. And the thing is it would be great if somebody could take a look at these things. But everybody just kind of dismisses me and says, no, it's not really happening. Well, why am I catching all these anomalies in pictures? Then take a look at the top. I drew the arrows of the extending light energy technology. It's light, it's almost translucent, so you could miss it, but it's clearly there. This is swooping down like this. Whoop. It starts here, comes down, and then it does a little S curve, and then continues on down. Don't believe me? Take a look. This other one does the same kind of thing, but it extends itself more like a straight line all the way down. But you can see it's a daisy chain. How about this? Ready? These are other people's pictures. Let me go ahead and try and change the lighting on this so that I can show you more accurately what it is. Okay, I will stop trying to get it to focus for you. Let's move on to this. I can't believe how much of a difficult time I'm having people understand what I'm trying to show. It's extremely frustrating. Here are two pictures of swooping energy. Do you see over the top of the field right here? Right there. And what you'll see is it looks like a row of heads. You ready? Now, the interesting thing about this is that this area right up here is not where there are any plants. And it goes and it's clear up. Now, look at the hair. And that's not all. Here's an even better one. There is a river in front of, well, in the middle ground. Okay? Whoops. Hold on. Okay. Look again at the top of the field. Do you see right here? The dark green all the way across. And it looks like faces. It seriously is what it looks like. Look at that. Now look above, and what you'll see, these are not pictures that I took. These are other people's pictures that I'm pointing out. Look at this bright yellow that starts across the river and then swoops down into the field. Do you see this right there? And it swoops down and into the field. The reason why this is important is that it shows that there is microwave energy or some other part of the electromagnetic system or electromagnetic spectrum that is, in fact, present and becoming more of an issue. This is just amazing to me. I can zoom in on it a little bit. I don't want people to get too over cockeyed, believing that, well, that's pareidolia or whatever you want to call it. Because if that were the case, it would be blurry, but these are crystal clear. So it's not an illusion that you're seeing. Pareidolia would be blurry. And these are really crystal clear. And look at that. There it is traveling over the top of the chair. All it takes is a little bit of effort and looking at the details of things. I'm not making this up. This is seriously what is going on. This is in the background of somebody else's picture. How about this? You ready to get freaked out? Oh, sorry. Look at that. Isn't that odd? And then how about this? This is a box. Right here. I've never seen tape look like that before. Have you? And then over here, I don't know what this is. Again, would you like me to point out some eyes for you? Because I can do that if you're having a tough time seeing it. It's really freaky. This one right here really freaks me out because it looks menacing and mean. Look. Right there. One eye socket, a second eye socket, and an open mouth. It looks like his teeth are open, or his mouth is open, and he's looking right at you. So I'm finding these things on other people's photographs. I'm locating things like light energy technology traveling over a walkway of a neighbor's house across the street, right here. I don't know. But, it's ironically close to the force field I talked about being around her home this last summer. Patty Ryan, first of all, has not told the truth about anything. It's been twisted. And it's completely fucked up with my entire life. And she will not apologize. How about this? Around the porch. You want to say those are shadows? Those are the funkiest looking shadows I've ever seen. Hold on. Doo-doo-doo. Here we go. Oh. Look at the right here around that edge. So these 1, 2, and 3 that I have listed up here, it's where it looks like there are projectile guns coming off the edges of buildings. Number 1, you can see it as Oh, number 3, I mean. It looks like a 1. It's right here. Right there. And if you look at the direction it's aimed, you can see the movement. Pretty clearly. I don't know why I'm having such a challenging time getting people to see this. It almost looks like there's a mist or something coming out of the end of the nozzle, like right there. I don't know, Patty. Is aromatherapy supposed to help me? Because shining disturbing lights my direction just really makes me angry as fuck. Do you see? There are actually faces. One eye, 2 eyes, and a mouth. There's one head right there. Here's another one right down below it. Now, my neighbors are also freaking out a little bit over all this. Why are you freaking out at me? My neighbors are the ones that have brought the technology into the neighborhood. How am I the bad guy? That makes no sense. It truly doesn't. Here is the edge of the garage in the backyard. This is all found in the Find My app in iPhone. Do you see that? So it starts back here, and you can see that it moves forward and then shoots it out. I'm not making this stuff up. Then this one. This is probably the clearest one you'll be able to identify. It looks like there's even a row of lights or like an extension cord, like right here. Do you see it right here? And this extension cord is important. Now let's talk about the portal, which is where I've seen things on video, not with my eyes, on video coming out of the ground. There are 3 known portals that I know where they are. here it is on the hill in front of Patty's house. And you can see swirl marks. It's right here. Here's a curve going this way, and another one going up, and one going down. But let's go ahead and talk about something else. These are from the Find My app. The front of a man who has been angry at me for 8 years without any good reason, because I've done nothing to him. In the backyard. What I want to show you about the backyard is this area. This is where there was tall grass that was swirly in the Find My app this last summer. It's no longer swirly. So it was changed. This is a, you can see the swirl a little bit right here in the corner, the black. Whoops, come on. Right there. And it swoops away and goes this direction. Do you see that movement? Do you see it? You see it going? Do you see it yet? So there's a little swirl there. And then you've got movement. Whoops. So from the property edge to the corner of the garage. Then it takes a deep swirl, and it turns like a dime on a dime right around the corner. Do you see it? Now, on top of that, there's this strange thing because it is not a walkway. It's too thin to be a walkway. And what I'm talking about is right here. And it looks like an extension line, like an extension cord, like you'd have for electricity. And if you look, there are pressure waves around it next to the garage. It makes the garage look wavy. Isn't that strange? I do not know what this is, but I find it really interesting that there's this type of crazy movement that's really occurring. Sharing because I'm caring. No sound? Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Maybe not. Well, I guess that's it for right now. I hope to get this resolved soon because the longer I don't, the shittier my life gets. Here's the front of the house. Go on to the Find My app for iPhone. Calling something something else has been a strategy of my neighbors for a while. Here's another angle view of it. And I gotta tell you, I'm tired of people being dishonest. And everyone believing what they say. Now, I'm going to tell you something. If you intend to pray for something, it better be within the alignment of God. When it is not, it's a selfish desire. This is something to keep in mind. The program of remote neural monitoring turns people into self-absorbed people obsessed with other people. It's all they think about. I'm very, very lucky. My captors could be horrible, horrible people, and they are not. I could still be suffering greatly, but I'm not. There are slight things that occur every now and then, but for the most part, I am being left alone. I am running the risk of becoming somebody else's little plaything. But this is worth fighting for everybody. Because nobody should be treated like this, and nobody should end up becoming obsessed over somebody else because of using the program. When you're addicted to somebody and you are able, with the press of a couple keystrokes, to enter a frequency that affects another person's body, you do not see the damage that gets caused. And it doesn't look visible from the outside because it's all happening inside. Traditionally, if you were a torturer, you had a prisoner and you kept them in a cell. If you punched them, you see the damage that you do. There's a disconnect between perp and tie. And it makes people believe that they're not really causing any harm because they're removed from it. This is horrible. This is a horrible program. The CIA should be terminating it immediately because if God meant us to hear and see remotely what somebody else sees and hears, He would have given us that ability. It's too much overload. It overloads the pleasure center because those are God's capabilities. And you're able to do this with anybody on the face of the planet. You don't think that doesn't go to somebody's head? It most definitely does. And they don't mean it to go to their head. It just does. That's the amount of control it gives somebody. And when they get drunk on that control, they're willing to go to extremes because you're able to project really easily. You're able to create future events. So you're actually able to completely destroy somebody's life and block them every single time and have 100% success. If I'm about to go into a law office to speak with a lawyer, GPS, they know where I am. They might have seen the name of the law firm through my own eyes, but on their screen. So they're quickly doing a search online to find the phone number. You don't think this doesn't happen? It does. It does. And that's not the way that people should be living their lives or considering it as a career because it's interfering with somebody else's life. Would you want somebody to interfere with you and your life that way? And why are we doing it again? Why? Hey, Autistic Angel, how are you? Merry Christmas. Um, we have three branches of government. Do you know what they are? Judicial, legislative, and executive. The judicial branch delivers punishment. They've gone to law school and have practiced the profession of law. They know what's fair, what's not, what's constitutional, what's not. They know those things. In order to become a judge, you have to have been a lawyer first. In order to be a lawyer, you have to go to law school first. That's one branch. The legislative branch are elected officials, and we only have 535 of them. We need about 5,000 more. But we only have 535, and we've only had 535 for about 150 years. We've grown a little bit since then. The third branch is the one that will be our downfall. Because they're overstepping their bounds. When you enforce the law, you go ahead and you arrest or give a ticket or fine, and that's it. Then it's a judge that is supposed to determine guilt or innocence. This program is a torture tool of punishment, but is being executed by executive branch people. Overstepping your bounds. And there are lots of people who there are so many violations that happen with it. Invasion of privacy is just the tip of the iceberg. We should be smarter than allowing this to be used. And I'm going to tell you this. This thing's been in testing mode for 20 some years. They know that if they asked Congress if they could use it, that they would be told no, because it's unconstitutional. So it's in testing, right? That way they get around the law of it not being illegal. We need to stop kidding ourselves. It causes cancer. It breaks DNA. It can melt bone and tissue. Human bone and tissue. Completely melt it. It will disintegrate. And if it's a military grade weapon, what is it doing in the hands of people that have no security clearance? That's kind of scary, don't you think? without any supervision. So this is a big deal. And it's a big deal because the people using it are developing a disease because their neural pathways are being altered that go to the pleasure center. They're getting high using the program, feeling invincible. It must be a humongous high because you can control somebody else's body from your keyboard. And you're doing it secretly. You're not doing it out in the open and nobody's really watching you. It's got to be an amazing high. But it's one of those highs that you do not notice sneaking up on you. We definitely do not want to be giving people diseases. We also do not want to be sending people to hell. We've lost a lot of people because of COVID. 7 million around the world. I've been talking about RNM being COVID for nearly 2 years. That's about 3 million deaths. When will people wake up? How long is it going to take? How many more deaths are we expected to watch the statistics continue to be the same? Take a look at the WHO data table. Really look at the numbers, and you will be shocked. You should be shocked. If you're not shocked, there's a problem with that. I'll show you why. How many or what percent do you believe is poor or lower income in your city that you live in? I'd say about 50%. Then take a look at the upper class. What percent of the city do you believe is in the upper class? I'd say about 10%. These numbers for class do not make any sense. Not only are they upside down, but they're starkly different. For a communicable illness or disease, the poor live like sardines in apartment buildings in the inner city. The people in the suburbs have a nice big fancy yard, and the numbers look like this, and nobody sees a problem with it? Come on. Wake up. Because that's not right. Just like these swirlings are not right. It's just not right. Now, I don't think it is unreasonable to have a little bit of restraint, I guess is the best word. Just because the technology is possible does not mean that it should be used. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should do something. And this is where the morality and ethical issues come into play. And it's something that all of society should be having a discussion about. But that's not what's happening. The truth is remaining hidden. It's even being told as something else. And it's continuing to destroy our world. The future of our civilization and the future of all living life, plant and animal kingdoms, are affected by what my government chooses to do. 3 to 5 generations, it will break enough DNA that reproduction won't be possible. And all of this because my government wants to control your body. We better step back from the plate. Can we have a timeout? 'Cause I want to bitch slap some people. What are you thinking? You've got enough control, don't you think? There are better things my government could be doing to help us all. But it seems the only thing it's doing is making people sad and miserable and lonely. I found it really interesting drawing a connection between geolocation and excessive microwave transmission, which would be e-COVID. The wealthy don't spend time in the inner city. And what was the recommendation if you came down with COVID? It was to stay at home and isolate, right? So the beam is aimed at suburbs, not the inner city. And the CDC recommends that you stay home and isolate. I wonder if somebody who is suffering in the suburb were to travel to the inner city, if magically their symptoms would have cleared up. I bet they would have. Something to think about. Autistic Angel, you asked Robert, do you consider yourself an independent? Um, I grew up believing Republican ideals, but as I grew older, um, I realized my political tendencies leaned more towards the left and closer to socialism because I believe that everybody should have should have a share of the pie. Um, and that's what I think the Democratic Party caters to a little bit more. Financially, I am a conservative, but when you say, would I consider myself an independent? I guess that I'm for the people, if that makes sense. Like, if you're fiscally conservative, it means that you want things to remain the same, or you want a very safe approach, as opposed to something a little bit more risky. So I hope that answers your question. I spent an hour on here, so I'm going to go and do something else. I'm going to leave you with this, though, before I do. And it's just a little bit more of a way to show exactly what I'm talking about. Hold on. I can't get it to do its thing. Darn it. Here you go. Down along the edge, along the bottom, it is so difficult to do this. There we go. Down along the bottom, you should be able to see a number of literally faces. Do you see that? Now, I'm not making this up, but it's literally painting over the window. Do you see how the edges are blurring into another color, but the lines are connected? Look at those two black things in the corner. I mean, this is as real as it gets. It's not a joke. I'm going to take a screenshot of this so that I can then blow it up. Okay, here we go. Oops, darn it. The part that disturbs me the most, I guess, is that no matter how much I present, people aren't interested in that. They want argue about something else. Don't do that. That's ridiculous. This is a problem. This is a huge problem. And if my government thinks that doing this to people is a good idea, I'm going to go to Mexico. Bye. And maybe that's where I'll go. Because America doesn't seem very interested in saving itself. Well, I'm not going to sit around and wait until I get killed. Yes, it's a global program, but this is ridiculous. How about this? The highlights of this is on 100 all the way up, and it is a red light that you can see right there. Do you see the red? Right there. Now watch what happens when I change the highlights all the way down to the negative 100. It's bright white. It's no longer red at all. Again, all the way up. Oh, sorry. You see the red there? There's your red. That's actually more what I'm seeing from my view. This light energy technology has the ability to be a chameleon. And if it's able to transfer itself from a box through the air, in through glass, and then into a screen, which it's looking more and more like I was correct over 2 years ago, also. This is extremely dangerous technology. I hope you have a good night. 6 days till New Year's.